Imagine having the life of your dreams. Not temporary cash and glory, but happiness and inner peace. Explore new ways to be a creator and take your own journey into greatness. Is it possible? What does it take to make that happen? It takes the person known for extreme results. He's called the cage breaker and the ultimate catalyst. Coming back from the brink of death and now crushing it for himself and his clients. This is Your Ultimate Life Podcast with Kellen Flukiger.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Your Ultimate Life. Yesterday we talked about bombs. Today we're going to talk about sucking sounds, negative bombs, upside down bombs, backwards bombs, inverse bombs. You get the drill. We talked yesterday about energy bombs being bursts of energy that we might find anywhere. We might go to a conference, we might read a book, we might watch a YouTube video. All kinds of things. A podcast episode, one of these episodes might get you all excited. And that's good. And that's the intent. I'm here to encourage, inspire, lift, bless, help you see your potential, and then make a choice to live in to that potential. It's powerful and it's important because remember, no one can keep you from living your ultimate life. Here, now, today. No one can stop you. You can be happy today. You can be joyful today. You can make a choice right now to love everything you have and to live in joy and enjoyment of every minute of your day. That doesn't prevent you from having goals and being on the way to somewhere else. Think of it this way. If I'm on a vacation and I'm in a cool place, a nice beach, and today we're spending a couple of days visiting the beach, and it's good and everything's beautiful and things are just like they're supposed to be, I can still enjoy that completely and know that the 2 days from now, I'm going to go do another thing that I enjoy. Now, I can already hear it. Yeah, Kellen, but that's vacation, and all the parts are supposed to be fun. Well, that's a story, okay? Not that all your vacations are supposed to be fun. Of course it is. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. But life is like that. We only have a story that some parts are awful. We've decided that some parts are awful, and it took me a long time to learn that. I'm 66, and I have finally learned with deep gratitude and appreciation to feel internally intense gratitude for every single piece of my life. Every hardship, every struggle, every mistake, every splat on the face, including when I died in the hospital and was in a coma, and all of it. Right? I'm grateful for all of it. And here's an interesting thing. That coma thing, it's coming up on 4 years in June. So 3.5 years ago last June, or 3 years ago last June. And it's, January. So 5 more months and it'll be 4 years. That was a hard thing. I came out of the hospital flatlined physically. I could barely walk. When I came out of the coma, I'd lost 35 pounds. I was completely trashed physically. And it took a long time to begin to get anything back at all. First I could walk and so forth, gradually worked physical exercise and everything so I could get my, movement and motion back. 6 months later in December, I went back to the hospital, another emergency surgery. So that just passed 3 years just last month. But anyway, the combination of those two things in 2018 left me pretty much physically destroyed. They told me my lungs may never heal. I asked them how long it would take to get them back in shape, and they said 2 years to never. Now, if you want to read about what happened, I died, and I had a near-death experience and had 3 conversations with God at the door between life and eternity, and I wrote a couple of books about that one. The first one, obviously, is called Meeting God at the Door. Conversations, choices, and commitments of a near-death experience. And then I wrote another book called The Book of Context, which is a book that came from those conversations about how we change the limiting beliefs that hold us down, that keep us locked where we are because we've held them so long or we believe so strongly that they're true. That process was given to me in that one of those conversations. Anyway, any of those books that I referred to, they're on my website, www.kellenflukiger.com. And if you want to write your own book, if you have a story, if you have something you need to tell, talk about, and share with the world. That's another thing that I do as an absolute labor of love. I have a workshop starting periodically during the year. I run 3 or 4 of them a year, and they're really small, like 5 or 6 people. It's very exclusive, and it's intended. In fact, if you stick with the homework, you will have your book done in 90 days. If you want to know more about that, and when the next one is, go to Dream Build Write It. One big long word, dreambuildwriteit.com. And it'll tell you about the workshop. Anyway, a little bit of a sidetrack. I wrote those books and about those experiences and talked a little bit in there about my work to get my physical body back. And it's been a long process. And now here, 3.5 years later, I'm able to 3 times a week. I ride the elliptical we have here in the basement really hard for a half an hour, 40 minutes, and really sweat. And, I can do that now. And being able to even think about such a thing then was simply unthinkable. Today, I want to talk about something I called energy sucks, because we know from our conversation, both with Anna a couple of episodes ago and yesterday, energy is everything. It's just different forms of energy, different vibrational states. That's how colors are different. The frequency of red and blue colors is different. And every single thing, even solid objects, are just vibrating energy in a particular pattern. That's all cute and interesting, but we're really interested in how to create your ultimate life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. I want to talk about 3 things that really drain your energy. And by energy here, I don't mean the energy holding your body together. I mean the energy holding your mind together, your will, your determination, your commitment, your desire to do and create. I mean, we've all made resolutions and then failed. We've all said, I'm going to do that, and then we don't. And then we hate ourselves, and then we say, I didn't want to make those resolutions. They suck. Because we're so used to failing at them. Well, there's 3 things we're going to talk about today for a few minutes that are big energy sucks, and you can figure out which ones are active in your life, and we'll talk a little bit about how to handle each one. The first one is comparison. When you're fired up about an idea or a thought or an action or a change you want to make, and then you go jump on your social media feed or television or movie or whatever, and you see somebody doing something that you imagine is better than you, it's very discouraging. I'll never make it. They're already, look at how far they are. Look at, they're already doing it. They'll take all the clients. They'll take all the good stuff. There's no, fruit left for us gatherers that come at the end, or whatever story, however you want to tell that story. Comparison is a gigantic energy suck. We tell the story that someone's ahead of us. We tell the story that somebody's better than us, that they're further along than we are, and that we're never going to catch up, or there's going to be nothing left for us, or whatever it is. That comparison is damaging, and it is a habit. You learned to do it. You don't see toddlers comparing how wet their diapers are. My diaper's wetter than yours. My shirt is longer, shorter, greener, bluer than yours. 1-year-old, 2-year-old, they don't do that. We teach them that disease as they grow a little bit older than that. What a disaster. Comparison. The only thing I need to compare and you need to compare is me today and yesterday. Am I putting in more effort today? Am I more focused? Am I a little less scattered? Am I doing better today than I did yesterday? That's all that matters. Any other comparison is pointless. You can have goals out there in the future that you want to get to, a certain amount of money, a certain amount of weight, a certain amount of anything, and comparing where you are today with that goal is appropriate. Where I am today with yesterday, that's fine, but comparing yourself with others is a gigantic energy suck. Now, when I say comparing today to yesterday, you're going to have days when you go backwards. So what? If that blows your mind and it kills you because you had a failure and you fell on your face and you did a bunch of work and it didn't work, everybody has that, everybody that's ever gotten anywhere, so that's okay. You're in a majority, the vast majority of people who fail. So there's a good thing to know. So that comparison is the only one that matters, is you compared to yourself or compared to the goal that you're aiming at. And then it is to be done with love. Like there's no value in saying, well, I had a backwards day today, and then yelling at yourself, kind of like Dobby in Harry Potter. He bangs his head against the wall and beats himself up, flagellates himself with a pot or a pan or a whip or whatever because, he's got to be punished. That's not the way to progress or to create your ultimate life. The second energy suck is looking at your history, right? Looking at your history. Sometimes maybe you've had a rough history. Maybe you had a long history of doing dumb things. I did. I had a multiple-year history of using drugs and having addictions and hating myself and ruining the relationships I was in. So Joy and I have been married now 14 plus years, working on 15. She's the love of my life and my eternity. I love the grace and beauty that's that magnificent creature with every ounce of energy I have in my body and my heart and my mind and my spirit and everything else. If I looked at my history with 3 divorces and failed relationships in between those divorces, I wouldn't have a lot of hope, and that would suck my energy that I might be putting into strengthening the relationship, enjoying the one that we have created, and all those good things. So, you can pull up a file on a computer, right? Go pull that up and see. Go Google that, pull that up. If you pull up your past, and that is the measure of everything for now, that can easily be an energy suck. Now, it can be an energy suck 2 ways. If your past was a failure, it can be an energy suck because you say, oh man, I'm doomed to repeat that. That's who I am. That mess defines my life. Yeah, okay. No, actually, all it defines is where you are up to today. The future is unwritten. The other way it can be an energy suck is the past was a giant success. So you look at the past and you're busy shining trophies from the past, and because you're afraid, you can't do anything now. So living in the past is a useless activity. Either you didn't do it right and you hate yourself because you didn't and you think you can't, or you did really well and you think you could never measure up. Both of those things are stupid and they're a waste of time. You did whatever you did, bad or good. Whatever that is brought you to where you are right now. So the past is only useful for 2 things. The first is wherever you ended yesterday, you start today. That's it. If I weighed 195 going to bed, I weighed 195 this morning, plus or minus some sleep stuff, right? That's just the way it is. So you start today where you left off yesterday, pretty much. Now, I realize there's some meditation and spiritual things that may happen at night, but pretty much you start where you left off. So that's one use of the past. It begins your starting point for the day. The second thing is if you're willing, if you're open, if you're looking, if you're seeking, if you're hungry, it can teach you some lessons. It can teach you lessons with successes you had in the past, or it can teach you some lessons about failure if you had failures in the past. So no matter what your past was, it can teach you some lessons. What it never does is write the future unless you let it. What it never does is determine what's possible for you unless you let it. So don't let the past be an energy suck. Learn from it. Let it be a tool for lifting yourself and others. Let it be a lesson. Let it be lifting, blessing, teaching, never an excuse, and never a thought that it predetermines what will happen now, because that's nonsense. The third and last energy suck I wanted to talk about is daily habits that you have. Like I have a habit of a long morning ritual, 2.5, 3 hours. And it is to prepare me to be the person I swear I've committed, I've given my word that I'm going to be. And that's a little under 2 pages of statements. I am statements. I am this, I am that, right? I am committed because I speak it. I am open because I embrace the growth from each experience. There's a list of those things. But in order for those to be true, I have to prepare myself every day. Because I'm not, you wake up and each day's fresh, and that's part of the genius of the daily design. But it also means you have the opportunity to prepare yourself and be exactly what you declare yourself to be every day, and a little bit better than yesterday. So your daily habits are a big part of your energy boost or your energy suck. If you have no daily habits, if you just get up and do whatever's handy and read the news and get depressed and get frustrated and behind the 8 ball and hit snooze button 8 times, those daily habits will be an energy suck. The other things that you do that can be a big suck is distractions. That's why one of the things I have in my daily create the day list is to ignore the mundane text and email and news, and I just ignore all that stuff. All it does is distract me. And I also avoid any negative rumination. If I start remembering things, thinking, any of that, just avoid that. You have a choice. You don't have to do that. Create your day with power. Choose a morning ritual that creates the very best version of yourself instead of a mediocre version or, heaven forbid, a bad version, focusing on all the negative stuff. So make a choice. It's in your hands. Like the minute you wake up, and in fact, my morning ritual has gotten so ingrained in my body and spirit that mine starts before I wake up. I find myself speaking the words of my truth and commitment statement before my eyes even open. They're on my lips. The first thing when I wake up, even in the middle of the night, to use a washroom, I'm saying my personal commitment statement. When I'm a third awake, the words are coming out of my mouth. If you cut my veins open, that's what I would bleed. So those habits help you avoid energy sucks, help energize you and keep you going. So if you avoid the energy sucks, comparison, pulling up your history and letting it dictate the future, or getting rid of or changing your bad daily habits and avoiding distractions, you will be well on the way to create your ultimate life.
Open your heart and this time around.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope that you take it deeply into your heart and decide for yourself how you can create anything you desire. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback and topic suggestions. Until tomorrow, this is Your Ultimate Life with host Kellen Flukiger.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on